The artist formerly known as R.J. Broadway Barrett returns to the Garden. OG faces his former team from north of the border and gives him that work. 31 points in his customary suffocating D. Pause. And the big bodega cat had 31 himself to go with 10 boards and 7 back of the store dime bags, propelling the Knicks to a 139-125 victory over the kids from the 6. It's Nick on Knicks. Let's go, yo. Play the music. There's been a bit of a trend recently. When one of our guys goes up against their former team that essentially gave up on them because they weren't willing to pay them, our guy then makes that former team pay. Tonight, it was OG Anunoby going up against the Toronto Raptors and giving them 31 points, 13 of 15 from the floor, 4 of 6 from the field. At one point late into the third, he was 11 of 11. OG was getting it done. He was getting all the way to the rim and going up and finishing strong through contact. He was hitting his threes. He was making steals and creating havoc on defense like we come to expect from him. And he led the Knicks to a victory tonight over the Toronto Raptors. RJ Barrett comes back to the Garden. Manuel quickly is on the bench. He has barely played this season. I think the latest thing is an elbow. RJ had a pretty decent game. RJ was 7 of 13, so he shot efficiently, 23 points, 8 of 11 from the free throw line, 6 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. And he was only a -1 in a game where his team loses by 14. Pretty good game for RJ, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough because the Knicks now have a balanced attack, and on any given night, anybody can go off. Tonight it was OG, and it was also the big bodega cat. 31 points, 10 rebounds, 7 back of the store dime bags. You got to know somebody when you walk in. There's got to be some sort of code, and you step in the back. And if you from the New York, New Jersey area, I don't know if it's not like this anymore, because nowadays you could walk into basically any corner store in the city and find whatever you want. But that back of the store dime bag saved a lot of people. Saved a lot of people in a pinch. And the big bodega cat, he's taking the passes. He's flicking them over his head. He's finding backdoor cutters. He's spraying it out to wide open three-point shooters. His total floor game has been fantastic. He gets 7 more assists tonight. The Knicks as a team eclipsed the 30 assist mark one more time. 34. We've already blown last season's 30 assist game total out of the water, and we continue to do that because this is the teams who, when the offense is going, they are going to be hard to beat. They shoot 59%, 45, damn near 46% from 3. And like I said, 34 assists to the tune of 139 points against the Raptors, who don't have a ton of wins. They especially don't play well on the road, but they got some good, decent players on that team. RJ is having his best season of his career. Scotty Barnes, he's playing well. Scotty Barnes had a big night tonight, 24 points, 10 of 20. Grady Dick can shoot. This guy, Mogbo, he's active. Somehow the refs give him a little bit more respect with the whistle than they do with Cat. But if I could have told you that we would have a game going into this season, especially pre-Cat trade, if I said to you, hey, Jalen Brunson he's going to be 4 of 13, and he's going to have 12 points and 7 assists, and we're going to be up by 30 in the fourth, you would say no way. And yes, the Knicks were up by 33 points at one point in the fourth quarter. So when you look at that final score of 139 to 125, you kind of wonder what happens. And what happened was Toronto started hitting a lot of threes, and the Knicks let go of the rope a little bit there in the fourth. Toronto had 43 points in the fourth quarter. That's obviously way too many, but sometimes when you're up big, these types of things are going to happen. And what it forced us to do was play guys a little bit more than we would have liked. Even Tom Thibodeau wanted to get some guys out and was not able to, due to the Raptors continuing to scrap. And at one point, Tyler Kolek was about to go into the game for Brunson. I think it was about 6'5", somewhere around there. And they got it down to 13 while he was at the table, called Tyler Kolek back. Kolek did end up getting in there at the end. Him, Landry Shamet, and Jacob Toppin got in playing the last minute and 1 minute and 24 seconds. Sorry, guys. But yeah, man. Like I said, I think Tibbs wanted to get some guys out a little bit earlier, but then Toronto made it a little too close for comfort. And in today's NBA, we've seen how quickly leads can evaporate. We saw Boston lose to Orlando, who they're missing arguably their top 3 players, definitely their top 2, and one of their other big rotation players. Both Wagner brothers and Banchero are out. And, we saw some other close games tonight that were a little bit surprising. Cleveland 124-113 over Utah. That game was close in the fourth. And so Tom Thibodeau as a coach, you got to get a win. One thing, my dad always makes this point. It's a great point. Whenever we talk shit about how Tibbs is keeping people in too long, or, why doesn't he get them out? Why doesn't he call off the dogs? Lose one of those games, and what will we be saying? It's a good point. Shout out to my pops. Tonight was his birthday. And if you watch our show, you'll know that his name is Noel. And today being his birthday, I guess those dots should connect. And so we got to watch the game with him. Got to have some lasagna. My mom's lasagna is fire. It was a good batch tonight. Good batch. So mom did her part too, along with the Knicks, to make it a good night. We get to watch our Knickerbockers win. Me and my pops, we do a show. It's called He Did This to Me. We talk Knicks, Mets, and Jets, but we also talk about the biggest sports stories of the day. We come out with that every single week. Subscribe to the channel. You can listen to us on all platforms, wherever you get your podcasts. We are He_did this to me on all socials. Come check us out, man. We always growing. It's been a great, I've enjoyed it, man. I enjoy it. I really do. And it's been fun to interact with people. We go live sometimes. Hit that alert button, because when we do go live, we would love for you to come out there and interact with us in the chat. Those are some of the best conversations that we have. The last Nick on Knicks we did live, and the chat was popping. Tonight I was hanging out at my pops, then I had to come home, get everything ready. So it was too late after the game. No live tonight, but Nick on Knicks will be waiting for you in your inbox. It'll be waiting for you at the top of your subscriptions, or the newest podcast the morning after every Knicks game. And the Knicks tonight, they took care of business. This is what good teams do. They come out, they play inferior teams. That inferior team gets off to a good start because the Knicks are turning the ball over and not making shots early. And even when you have your fearless leader, the best player on your team, the captain, have a subpar offensive game, the Knicks are still able to win going away. And that is because of the depth of this roster, the amount of different players that they have that can affect the game in so many different ways. Another good game from Mikal Bridges. He had 14 and almost felt like he had more. He's 4 of 8 from behind the arc. He's stepping in and taking those threes confidently, and he felt like he hit them at some big moments throughout the game, some big momentum moments. And this game was definitely a game of runs. There was a lot of times today where, one team in the second quarter, it felt like the Knicks were kind of bullshitting. And then all of a sudden we get a little bit of a run and really never look back until things got a little bit hairy down the stretch. But we'll talk more about that second quarter and that run and what propelled that run, who propelled that one, which lineup that has now shown twice in 3 games that it can be very, very effective, and led to 2 big runs that totally changed the game, both times in the second quarter. We'll talk about that for sure. But seeing RJ and seeing him come back, and you see some of the things that we love from RJ, but then you see some of the shortcomings of his game as well. RJ's jump shot looks a lot more confident. I noticed that when we played them in Toronto, and I noticed that again tonight. And that's not playing the results, because RJ tonight was 1 of 4 from 3, but there's something different about the confidence of his jump shot. You could just see it. as a guy who watched him take, every jump shot that he took for the first, 4 years of his career. And then Scotty Barnes is very effective in the mid range where, he's strong. And even a guy who like McHale, who's a good defender, who's been playing much better defense here of late, he had a little bit of trouble just because Scotty Barnes is he's a little bit taller than him and just a lot stronger than him, broader shoulders. And he was getting to the mid range. He was getting his shots off. And then he was also distributing from the mid range as well. Scotty Barnes, like I said, had 24 points. He had 8 assists to go along with that, 3 rebounds, did have 5 turnovers though. And I'm sorry, but I got to say this, man. Scotty Barnes is the worst haircut in the NBA. If you were to take like a metal, like one of those fist picks with the fist on it, if you took one of those and you just made him like sit in a chair and just tried to pick his hair out, it would be torture. That cat is not taking a comb or a brush. He needs a strong brushing and a thorough combing. And that double edge up, it's piss poor. It's so bad. Come on, Scotty. I know you got the resources, dog. Somebody should be coming to the crib, to the locker room. You're in New York City. There's 500 barbers within a 10-mile radius that could get you right in 20 minutes or less. It's bad. My mom came out and she looked at him at one point and was like, he's so goofy looking. He's got the protective glasses. He had the eye issue. I get that. Could you go with a slightly better style of glasses? I think so. But the hair is unacceptable. Come on, Scotty, get it right. Get a barber. Somebody get this guy a barber. RJ was looking a little shag up at certain points during his Knicks tenure. But RJ now keeps it tight with the taper. You can tell he takes a little foam brush to the top of it and everything. Yo, talk to your boy Scotty, man. Help that cat out. He's a weird dude, Scotty Barnes. You could tell. He's a weird dude. You almost can't have him and OG on the same team. They're too weird. Weird in different ways. But yeah, man. The Knicks tonight, they just move the ball. The cutting backdoor is fantastic. I need to know a stat about OG and your boy Bridges and how they how many points they score off of backdoor cuts. It has to be number 1 in the league. I think I would say they're number 1 and 2, and they as a team we got to be number 1. It's more than I've ever seen on any Knicks team. It's a beautiful basketball to watch. It's just such a breath of fresh air. And now that we are figuring out the defensive end, not so much tonight, giving up 125 points, but during the month of December, we have played much better defense. And if we're able to do that, we're going to be one of the best teams in the league. Knicks now get to 19-10. They sit 3rd in the Eastern Conference. And then starting off the game, the first bucket is we let RJ spin back to his left for the very first bucket. And it's Brunson gets caught on him on a switch and it's a little close and Brunson's going to have a hard time stopping him down there, but just make him go to his right. We saw later on that the 2 times that he tried to attempt a layup with his right hand, one of them, barely got up to the rim. The other one didn't get up to the rim. He just lost it out of bounds. I'm pretty sure it was Deuce playing defense on them. You make that guy attempt a shot with his right hand, or at least even going to his right, and the percentages just absolutely nosedive. But yet, against the Knicks in the 2 games that we've played him, and throughout his career, he's been able to get to his left and do it with, very good success. We go out in the first quarter, and like I said, we don't have the best effort on the offensive end, just as far as like our ability to shoot the ball to start the first quarter. But by the end of the first quarter, we're playing pretty well. Okay. When you look at our numbers in the first quarter, we end up with 55.6 percentage wise, 4 of 8 from behind the arc. So it's interesting because both Karl-Anthony Towns at the beginning of this game and the Knicks overall at the very beginning of this game kind of were like, But then by the end of the first quarter, you look up and Cat's 3 of 5, 4 of 4 from the line with 10 points. And the Knicks are up 30-28. And from there, they really never looked back. The second quarter was when they really took control of this game. In the second quarter, they outscore the Toronto Raptors 40-24. And the real catalyst was Cam Payne. Cam Payne, the ultimate hate him, but I love him guy. And I don't mean like, sometimes he frustrates me because I love everything he's doing on the Knicks. I'm talking about that typical guy in sports where it's like, I hate him when he's on the other team, but damn, when he's on my team, I love this guy. Cam Payne had an unbelievable little sequence from the end of the first quarter into the beginning of the second. He hits a deep three at the end of the first. He hits a floater. Then he hits this is now in the second quarter. He hits a floater. Then he hits another deep three. Then he hits an and one like scoop shot in between two people. He's dancing and shit. He hits another deep three. He ends up having 11 points in just 6 minutes in that second quarter. And Cam Payne continues to be a spark plug off the bench. All that dancing and shit he does, geez, man, you could just tell. I know how annoying it was when he was on the other end. Now that he's a Knick, I fucking love it. It's great. I love it. Oh, I love it because it's typically it comes with him also being successful in his play, but also because I know how annoying it must be to other teams, both their players and their fans. And we saw Brunson and Josh Hart on the Roommates podcast talked about how they didn't like this dude as early as last year. That was a funny story. Josh Hart talked about seeing him in the club in Miami and just basically hating on him. That's a funny story. Josh Hart is a funny dude, man. He's a funny dude. And he's a hell of a ball player. He had 2 beautiful assists, one to OG going backdoor, one a bounce pass. Like basically, Mikal Bridges had to slow up. It almost went through his legs. Mikal Bridges is smart enough to know that it wasn't coming to him. He skips it forward to Brunson, who catches it and then gets the reverse layup. That was in the third quarter, I believe, when the Knicks were really just putting his clamps on this game. Because in the third quarter, whenever you're playing a team that's down by a bunch, they usually come out and they try to punch first. And the Knicks did a good job of making sure that they take that punch and then going ahead and delivering back. And they felt really good going into the fourth. They needed to push the lead like they did, because if not, clearly Toronto was going to make a big effort in the fourth to come back. The Knicks get another 40-point quarter, 2 in a row in the second and third. They score 41 points to the Raptors 30 points in the third quarter. Josh Hart, man, wow. He just gives you whatever you need. He gives you whatever you need. He's Mr. Do Everything. The shot continues to fall. He had 1 3 that he took confidently and made. And Josh Hart overall, I'm sorry, he was 1 of 2 from behind the line. He was only 3 of 6 from the field, but then it felt like it was more than 4 assists, to be honest. It felt like more, and 2 of the passes, like the pass to Brunson was just, gorgeous. Afterwards, you saw him like joking and, showing how he threw it through everybody. You saw him, singing Mariah Carey. They showed him in between, in a stoppage of play. The Garden was playing. Were they playing All I Need for Christmas Is You? I think that's what it was. Shit, you hear that song so many times around this time of year. Who knows? But he was having a good time, man. Josh Hart, I think that the spirit that he has, what he brings to this team, as far as a locker room present, as far as somebody who's lighthearted and at the same time is willing to challenge his teammates, couldn't be overstated how important that is. His defense, when Scotty Barnes was giving it to Bridges, then your boy Josh Hart went on to him, and he was able to be a little bit stronger and get up in him, pause, and was able to really, really affect Scotty Barnes a little bit more. I thought that we got a great floor game from Josh Hart overall, plus 16 on the night, 11 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds. Good game, Josh Hart. Precious was active, man. He's active. He had a huge, great block on Grady Dick. He just straight up, pushed his shit up against the glass. Damn, this is a lot of pause this episode. Sorry, guys. With Grady Dick, it's kind of hard to to avoid the pauses or the pardon my lefts, as my guy Mello starts to say. But yeah, man, I thought that overall Precious gave you good 22 strong minutes, hustle, some rebounds. Precious had 7 rebounds, 2 of them on the offensive end. I know 1 led to a 3 from somebody else. Precious hit a corner 3. Cat was really looking for him. Cat had a really good pass to him at one point. And Cat overall, his floor game is just fantastic. Some of the passes he's making, and then today he gets in the lane and does the little, the little move in the lane with the footwork. Dare I say, dream shake? Cat's on another level, man. His game is on another level right now. I said this last episode. I'm gonna say it again. That Cat needed New York. He needed New York. He needed the scrutiny. He needed a fan base that he knew was going to demand that he play a certain way on the boards and defensively nightly. Defensively, is it perfect? No. He's the best rebounder in the game, and he is an offensive dynamo, a savant. He can do it all from anywhere on the floor. And tonight he did another thing that I've been begging from him is, and we splitting hairs, Cat. We splitting hairs because you're doing your thing. But Cat, I love when he stops and shoots the little midi, as opposed to if he doesn't have the advantage and he can't get all the way to the rim for the layup or the dunk, just stop and shoot. I saw them do that at least twice tonight. Come to a jump stop, shoot or make a pass. Don't be out of control. Don't get the offensive foul. It's the one thing, and he's been fantastic, man. Karl-Anthony Towns, he's just that dude. He got that. He had the crazy no look to OG for 3 at that point where I think we're up by 19. It's in the second quarter. OG, there was a point in the second quarter where somebody for Toronto dove on the ball. Deuce did not dive on it with him. They ended up, he ended up getting away from Deuce, and it ended up in a layup for Toronto. Tibbs was pissed. He calls the timeout. He's giving it to Deuce. He's screaming at Deuce. Deuce comes out, and I think he hits a shot right after that. And there was another time later in the game where there was a ball on the floor, and Deuce made sure he dove for it. But soon after that, also, OG had like 2 just like pure effort plays. He got credited with the steal on one of those, and they both ended up in easy buckets on the other end. And I just thought that right there, we kind of took their heart. And we're up 19. I think we got even to up by 20, and Brunson was still scoreless at that point. Brunson just didn't have it tonight, man. He's 0 of 3 to start from the line. He ends up getting to 4 of 8. He's 0 of 5 from behind the arc, 4 of 13, 12 points, did have 7 dimes. Turned the ball over 3 times. Brunson just offensively didn't have it. But as we know, he's still going to stay engaged. He still had like the 7 assists, like I said, where he was, making sure that he was getting people involved. And I thought that Brunson had one of those games where, hey, the shot's not falling. Don't put up a ton of shots. Move the ball. Trust the pass, as Tibbs always says. And he got other guys involved. And his teammates, they picked him up. Brunson's scoreless in the third quarter, and we're up by, I'm sorry, it was in the second quarter at that point. Brunson's scoreless, and we're up by 20 points. That's crazy. But that's the team that we have now. That is the team that we have now. A team that can shoot 45% from 3 and 59% from the floor with 34 assists on 51 makes. It's just beautiful basketball to watch. Josh Hart got a technical at one point in the third. Then they missed the free throw, and of course he screamed, "Ball don't lie." And even with Brunson struggling again in that third quarter, it was the perfect third quarter to just make sure that you put a lid on this game. And then Josh Hart, he starts to get Brunson going with that pass. OG's 11 of 11. He's hitting threes. He's going to the rim. He's finishing strong through contact with 2 hands. And the Knicks just take care of business. Late in the game, you got Tyler Kolek getting in for a little bit. He's the MVP of the G League Select Championship. Knicks won that last night. I saw the end of that. It was on ESPN2. And, with the familiar face, RJ coming in, and with OG facing his old team, Precious facing his old team, this game has a little bit of extra importance. But it's also important that the Knicks just kind of get here rolling and show some consistency. And they've now won 4 in a row. They get to 19-10 on the season. It's the best start that they've had to a season in the Tibbs era. If you watch me and my pops, we have preached the fact that these Tibbs teams typically start slow, and then around January is when they get cooking. Well, let's go ahead and get cooking. Now we got Wemby coming in to the Garden. Christmas Day, first game of the day. I personally think that Cat's going to cook him. I think he's going to take the young pup and he's going to school him a little bit and show him what's good. I know everybody's talking about you and everything, but hey, I've been in the league for a while. I'm the big bodega cat, the big purr. And I know a couple things about this basketball game and, some things that you maybe haven't learned yet. That's what I see from Cat in this next game. Wemby's a hell of a player. Guy had 30 points and 10 blocks in a game the other night. And he can do it all from every spot on the floor. He has every ability to be one of the greatest basketball players of all time if he's able to stay healthy. It seems like it's inevitable. But he's not there yet. And I think Cat is going to remind him of that on Christmas Day. Landry Shamet got in, got a bucket. He's back. He looks good. Typical, just easy, gets to a spot, off the glass. Was it off the glass? I think it was off the glass. It's a little short, Jerry. But I think he's going to be a rotation player, and I'm hoping that he can cut into some of those Bridges minutes, and I'm hoping that with him cutting into some of those Bridges minutes, that Precious minutes are cutting more into OG's minutes, and we can get some of those guys down a little bit less. But I didn't really have a problem with the minutes distribution tonight, just because they did make it interesting. And at the end of the day, you got to secure the dub. Jericho Sims, 3 minutes and 21 seconds. He grabbed a rebound in close at one point. And I mean, he has nothing close to a post move. And if he brings the ball down below, his shoulders, it's over. He's not getting a shot off. He's not getting a shot off. But he moves his feet. He plays good D. Just a lot to be desired on the offensive end from Jericho Sims. I don't know what those videos we were seeing of him working with Mike Bibby, shooting jumpers with both hands. Where is that shit now? I don't see nothing like that from Jericho now. Oh, well. Hey, man, good win for the Knicks. They've won 4 in a row. They have a very good chance to win 9 in a row. Go look at the schedule. Very winnable games. Honestly, this next game against Wemby is going to be one of the tougher games in this stretch. Let's stack some dubs. Hopefully Boston and Cleveland can scuffle a little bit, but they're way out in front. They're a lot, fuck them. I don't even care about catching them as much as I just care about this team continuing to build some consistency, specifically on the defensive end. Keep it going on the offensive end. Keep getting these dubs. Keep stacking them up. All right. Hey, next time you'll hear from me, I don't know if I'll go live on Christmas Day. I'll record that night so you can watch on the 26th. But give us a like, tell all your friends, give us a subscribe, and you can catch us on all platforms. It's your boy Nick on Knicks. Peace. Hey!